Hola tribe. Welcome to the House of Kai, and I'm Kainin. If you like what I offer, please like, share, subscribe. I have to remember to say those things. It's not in my thought process ever. I always know that those that are meant to find me. As we move forward, it is important that the tribe has the medicine they require in order to sustain. So this video is specifically based on that, actually, and what I am witnessing within the tribe as far as those understanding the need to sustain. We are in such a precarious time, and it's only going to get messier. I love that phrase, you got to make a mess to clean a mess. And Father is shaking it up. He is shaking it up. What I love is that what is being spoken to me is that it doesn't matter. It does not matter what humanity chooses. Those of the light will continue to move forward. We just will. We'll clean up any mess. Any mess. That which we hold, the light, will clean up any mess that is being brought to the table. So, in the most recent days, I had the opportunity to participate in an event. My spirit needed it. To those that participated in the event, whether they put it on, whether they participated and just shared in the music and the festivities, I thank you. My appreciation and gratitude runneth over. Thank you. I will mention that while there, I received a lot of information from the tribe and what is being experienced. And some of those things will come in further videos. I'm gonna break it down because there was a lot. So what that always tells me is that if those around me are coming to me with specific questions, and most of them had similar questions, each engagement offered me a very similar patterning of questionings of how to move forward in different ways. So I will make sure that I provide more videos on options and opportunities and pathways to look at and to sustain ourselves within our tribe. So one of the key things that I noticed was I was teaching. And I offered breathwork. And I find it really interesting. Those that participated in my breathwork drank it in. They were truly blown away by the experience they had, not knowing they could access their sacred geometry within their structural body, utilizing the breath. Each one gave me a different explanation of what they experienced. And I mean, it was only like a 45-minute class, right? And each one had like profound experiences, some had internal healings of the body. I think the majority of them told me that they actually cried a little bit while they were experiencing the breath. Nothing so intense that they, or intense as that I'm used to with a lot of the breathwork sessions that people can go into. Yet just accessing parts of their body awoken emotions that they were storing. That's the beauty of breath. It's the beauty of the breath. So what my concern was that they all looked at me afterwards and said, well, that was a lot of work. They said, that was a lot of work. I said, well, breath work is work. just is. I think that we have grown to believe that breathing is an autopilot, right? We just do it, right? We just breathe all the time. Listen, I was just as guilty. I was just as guilty of believing that prior to my breathwork training years ago. I did a couple of years one-on-one with breathwork sister, and that blew my mind. And the healing that I gained from it was monumental, and that led me to breathwork school. And in breathwork school, it only uncovered even more and more and more of what it is to utilize breathing. There are so many. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of different ways of breathing, and each one is intended to create something different, offer something different, a different medicine. And again, not everyone is going to access their breath the same way. There are benefits to all different formats of breathing, so don't ever get locked into just one. Even mine, I claim it as mine, it's not mine. The breathing pattern that I teach is one that was actually downloaded. I do utilize the breathing patterns that I was taught in breathwork school, yet the breathing pattern that I teach is a specialty breath that literally accesses your sacred geometry, this beautiful sacred geometry behind me, right? You see that? That right there. I teach you how to access that, your tree of life, within your body, which is the Christ-lighted grid, as it's been spoken to me. Briefly, I will mention that what you see in this shape right here, you see this? See this? This one piece right there is the seed of all creation, right? You will find that diaphragmatic archway throughout the whole entire body as simply as just here, right? That's right. You put the arches of your feet together, and again, you'll see that same seed. So there are multitudes that create the grid within the body. I always laugh. Why wouldn't Father put the map inside of us, right? We've all been seeking outside of us for the answers, and it's been inside of us the whole entire time. However, modern humanity and the system has tried to make us look elsewhere. Yeah. My job is to teach you that it's inside of you. So, why I'm making this video? What I have found, and by no means is this 100% anything. Anytime I speak anything is majority, okay? There is always fractions and fractions and fractions breakdown of why things are the way they are, why people respond the way they are, or why they respond the way they do. We can break anything down into categories. Yet oftentimes I speak to you as from a platform of the majority. And so what is that? What is this? What I'm noticing is that those who are, we'll say, 30s, mid-30s plus, are willing to do the work. They're willing to clear the blockages in their bodies, their emotional patterns, their structural patterns, their physical ailments, because they see the reward of the work. And the majority of the people that I taught over the weekend were early 20s. I would say early 20s. I might have had one or two like 19-year-olds or something like that, but I would say majority early 20s. Latest would probably be about 30, okay? And when we were accessing this grid, yeah, it was great. It was lovely. They were really shocked by the level of profoundness they had experienced in the breath. But they just thought, oh, it's work, right? What at this time needs to be understood? Your light is the most precious gift you have. It is beyond precious. It is meant to shine as well as be guarded. right? There is a way in which we are capable of experiencing and shining that light. However, there is a way of making sure there are integrity lines, and I call those the integrity lines, within the light itself, so that we are unharmed, that our light is not stolen or leached off of or poisoned by those that, that's first and foremost, that do exist and that wish to cause people harm, sadly. There is a large portion of beings out there that are not plugged into the light. There is a large portion of beings that were once plugged into the light and are presently not plugged into the light. And some of them don't know it yet. Some of them don't realize that their struggles that they're dealing with right now are because they did not choose to participate in the new earth, in Father's new creation. And I call them, they're sitting in purgatory, right? They're sitting in the, do I go in this direction or do I go in that direction, right? So either one. And then you have a portion of beings who I'm going to subcategorize. They are more of the darker energies. All right? I sometimes refer to them as the dark forces. It is not that they are in opposition to the light. It is that they require it to live as well. They need the pure waters, the light source that we have in order to sustain here, because they're very depleted. They're no longer plugged into it. They're not being nourished by it. So they have to find ways of gaining access to that light with, oftentimes through manipulation. And there are many ways of doing that. So some of the dark, let's start with this. Some of the dark force beings, there are those that absolutely know they're the darkness. 100%. They know who they are, they don't care, and they have beings that are underneath them that they rely upon in order to get nourishment from. They have manipulated enough beings and are in a place of power that they work it, right? It's like a business for them. And they have figured out a way of gaining nourishment from people's light in order to sustain their lives. And then there are those that are working with the dark forces that don't really know that they are. They just, sorry about the lighting, they don't really know that they are working with the dark forces necessarily. Or they're just a pawn in the game. They just feel a sense of power, but it's a false sense of power. It's an egoic power, yet they feel power, right? And so, I mean, I don't judge or blame anyone. It's just an awareness. It's good to know. We need to understand this. And so, with that being said, if you are a light being, if you are part of my tribe, and you understand that you are of the light, that you are here for the new earth, it is imperative. I'll say that again. It is imperative to learn how to manage your light, sustain your light, to purify it, to make sure that nothing is getting attached to you. There are many reasons for that. However, I'll simply explain. This, what I kind of said to the young people that I was working with, that you are a sovereign being. You are solely in charge of your light. And if you, being a light being, consistently show up with poison, verbally spewing it, or your actions are showing it, if you show up with a level of poison with the tribe, and you don't do anything to purify it, right? If you just keep showing up like poisonous and spewing BS and hate and stuff like that, how long do you think the tribe is going to let you stick around? It might start from an individual place. However, eventually, if you don't learn how to purify your own waters, then there will be no tribe for you. It's really difficult for me to say, actually. I believe that within the tribe, we will always seek to assist our brethren, to help them, right? There were many that I engaged with over the weekend that were participating. Woo, look at that lighting. Thank you. I don't think I'm doing much of anything to change it either, and I apologize. There were many that were participating in alcohol. And I'm not saying alcohol is bad, okay? But you're conjuring spirits, right? Alcohol is referred to as the spirits, and you are calling in spirits. And there are sacred spirits, there are holy spirits, and then there are not so holy spirits. Let's go with that. You're leaving yourself susceptible. And so what I witnessed was many who were participating in different drinks that eventually they just started getting really bitter, and they were spewing stuff that was untrue. And when I sat and just spoke with them and asked them a few questions, or made it somewhat tangible for them to recognize that what they were saying had no anchor of truth. They weren't standing in their own sovereign being making these statements. They were arguing points of attention that outside society was projecting upon them. Okay? So they were choosing to go and play the little game, which was making them sick. They were angry at having to play the game. And when you brought them back into sovereignty and the place that they knew of authentic, of who their soul is, they literally shed layers. Shed layers. One specific young man, the day I was leaving, came over to me to literally ask, to say thank you. To say thank you to me that I worked with him and stood by him as he was moving through the illusions. And he was just so grateful to have that much caring and loving and support without judgment. It's not about judging anyone, it's about helping them find their way back to the river, right? Like, that's the illusion, right? If you're walking through a desert and you're looking at something, is it the mirage or is it the authentic waters, right? You know, I recently said to somebody, I said, I would rather die of thirst than drink inauthentic waters. That's me. I would give it all up, but offer it just for the purity. That's it. And we are living in a time in society that people are being disillusioned. They're being made to believe that they can find pure waters in the inauthentic, and that is impossible. It is impossible. Part of the reasoning, I believe, is that there was a time that the pure waters had artificial sweetener in it, right? There was an artificial, I call it the artificial sweetener, the artificial sugar, right? That was added into the pure waters that made people believe that that's what the pure waters represented, was laced with artificial, and that no longer is true. That's no longer true. So if you are drinking in anything from any human being, any medicines, any communications, any healing work, any conversation that feels sugar-coated, artificial, leaves like a weird aftertaste, a weird like aftertaste or a feeling within you that feels icky, anything that doesn't feel like pure truth. And forgive me, pure truth is painful. I don't necessarily like the truth. I would rather the truth any day of the week. I would rather authentic truth 100% over anything artificial, because I always know where I stand. I always know where I can gain my own power, right? It's within me. And the lies, the artificial, is only gonna create chaos and disillusionment. So as we move forward, it is imperative. It is imperative. If we ourselves do not learn how to sustain our own pure waters, then you are subjecting yourself to losing it, is the best way to say it, really. Just because you are currently plugged into the pure waters doesn't mean it's a forever thing. You actually have to do the work to maintain them. That is what sovereignty is. So, there will be many videos coming up. I'm rebuilding my business platform for digital media and creating a way of offering for people to have medicine for free as well as for charge, so that the community can have the tools they need to learn how to do this. I personally believe it's your God-given birthright to have this information. The Father created it this way, this medicine within you, so that you will self-sustain and heal always. Always. However, the system corrupted the information and led people astray. So my personal soul's journey was discovering it. I have done much work to, as I call it, decode that which is the truth and that which is the pure waters. So I wish to offer the medicine to as many as that will drink it in. It is the most joyous gift in the world, watching people heal, drink in nourishment. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So, regardless of what age you are, I want you to check in. Are you doing things that will assist you in keeping your waters pure? And there are many different things to look at, and I'll make sure I do more of a video on that as well. The different options of how to actually do that. Are you? What is your daily practice? What are your daily rituals? I as well, correcting all of mine, right? Realizing that I was kind of hydroplaning, I have it down. I know how to access everything. I can do it whenever I need to. I can go a little bit without having maintenance done, in order to sustain. Well, now we're all being under attack. Right? So the separation has happened. The new earth has been born. There are those of us who are walking on it effortlessly. However, we're seeing all these other beings or, darker forces who are struggling. They're struggling, and we're working on neutralizing that. We can all survive. We can all thrive here, actually. It's just working with each other. Working with each other. So, if you have any questions, please feel free, put them in the comments below. If you are looking to do some work, or if you have, interest in learning how to activate your grid, your grid within your body, there are many different ways that we can do that. I do it with breath and I do it with movement. And if you are local to me, I also am doing it with different medicines and tinctures and jungle medicine specifically, in order to help wake people up to their lighted grid. So please message me or leave a comment below so that I may reach out to you and you can get the healing you need. Remember, we're in this together. Tribe thrives when we work together. Even if you've been doing this a long time, there's always new information to be had. And if you're just starting out, it's pretty beautiful actually. If you are just starting out and needing to learn, we are at a time that the information is off the charts, right? It is a beautiful time to learn a new language because it is a new language. It is a new language. So, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know. Feel free to ask questions, guys. There's much to be answered as we move forward on this new earth. My goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, I love you. Peace out, y'all. Mwah.